The South China Sea is once again at the center of global tension, a region where the interests of powerful nations collide, and the stakes have never been higher. Disputes are escalating between China and the Philippines, with confrontations at sea becoming more frequent and intense. China claims nearly the entire sea, asserting historical rights over vast stretches of water and the islands within it, despite international objections. The Philippines, backed by international law and a 2016 tribunal ruling, is pushing back harder than ever, determined to protect its maritime territory and resources. The US and other regional players like Vietnam and Malaysia are deeply involved, conducting joint patrols and voicing support for freedom of navigation. This is no longer just a local dispute, it's a flashpoint for the entire Indo-Pacific, with global trade and security hanging in the balance. Beijing accuses Manila of provocation, especially over resupply missions to the BRP Sierra Madre, a grounded ship that serves as a Philippine outpost in contested waters. Yet China continues to ignore international rulings against its sweeping claims, maintaining a strong presence and building artificial islands. For the Philippines, these actions are about defending sovereignty and national dignity, not provocation, standing firm in the face of overwhelming pressure. On the water, Chinese maritime militia and Coast Guard vessels now swarm contested areas, shadowing and sometimes blocking Philippine ships. Routine patrols have turned into dangerous encounters, with the risk of miscalculation growing each day. Each incident risks spiraling into a wider conflict, drawing in major powers and threatening the fragile peace of the region. The South China Sea has become a microcosm of 21st century strategic rivalry, where the future of regional order and international law is being tested with every passing day. In response to China's pressure, the Philippines is rapidly modernizing its military, with strong backing from the United States. U.S. support includes advanced surveillance drones, military training, and critical infrastructure upgrades under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. New bases and upgraded command centers in Palawan put Philippine forces closer to contested waters, boosting their rapid response capabilities. These efforts are designed to create a credible deterrent, making any aggression costly for potential adversaries. The US-Philippine alliance is now more operationally potent than ever, sending a clear message to Beijing. Manila is no longer a passive bystander in its own maritime backyard. The front line is fortified, and the stakes have never been higher. The US-Philippine partnership is most visible at Naval Detachment Oyster Bay in Palawan. A new US-funded maintenance facility will support both manned and unmanned vessels, ensuring the Philippine Navy can sustain operations in contested waters. Oyster Bay is the launch point for missions to the Second Thomas Shoal, making its upgrade a matter of national security. The investment reduces vessel downtime and strengthens Manila's daily presence at sea. This is more than infrastructure. It's a strategic signal of long-term US commitment. For China, it's a clear warning. The US is actively reinforcing its ally on the South China Sea's doorstep. Oyster Bay stands as a concrete symbol of an alliance built for the challenges ahead. Tensions erupted on June 17, 2024, when Chinese Coast Guard vessels violently clashed with Philippine Navy boats during a resupply mission. Chinese personnel boarded, damaged Philippine boats, and injured a Navy SEAL, marking a dangerous escalation. The attack shocked Manila and the world, exposing the raw aggression behind China's maritime strategy. The incident galvanized Philippine resolve and accelerated US security assistance, including new infrastructure projects. It shattered illusions that quiet diplomacy could manage China's expansion. The Philippines gained powerful moral and legal leverage, rallying international support. The clash made the crisis real and urgent, transforming abstract disputes into human drama. The world could no longer ignore the stakes in the South China Sea. China's South China Sea strategy is a calculated mix of pressure and pragmatism, carefully designed to advance its territorial claims while managing regional relationships. Against the Philippines, Beijing uses aggressive tactics and harsh rhetoric, aiming to isolate Manila and exhaust its resolve. This includes frequent maritime confrontations and diplomatic pressure, making it clear that any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. Every Philippine move is met with overwhelming force, sending a warning to other regional states. The goal is to deter other nations from challenging China's claims and to demonstrate the high cost of defiance. In contrast, China's response to Vietnam's island building is muted, avoiding direct confrontation. This restraint is strategic, as Beijing seeks to maintain a working relationship with Hanoi while still asserting its dominance. This double standard is deliberate. China wants to keep Vietnam from joining a US-led coalition, while punishing Manila for its assertiveness. By showing leniency towards Vietnam, China aims to prevent it from aligning too closely with the United States. By tolerating Vietnam's actions, Beijing signals it can accommodate neighbors who avoid public confrontation. This approach encourages other nations to seek a more conciliatory stance with China, rather than openly opposing it. The message is clear. Challenge China with US backing, and face the consequences. Cooperate quietly, and you'll be spared. This nuanced strategy allows China to manage its regional relationships while advancing its strategic interests. This approach fractures ASEAN unity and keeps the Code of Conduct negotiations on China's terms. By dividing ASEAN members, China ensures that any regional agreements will favor its interests. The divide and conquer strategy is central to Beijing's regional ambitions. It allows China to assert its dominance in the South China Sea, while minimizing the risk of a unified regional opposition. While China and the Philippines clash openly in the South China Sea, drawing international headlines and attention, Vietnam quietly expands its outposts in the Spratly Islands, steadily increasing its presence without fanfare. Massive land reclamation projects are underway, transforming tiny reefs and sandbars into resilient, fortified bases that can withstand harsh weather and potential attacks. These efforts are designed to counter China's own artificial islands, creating a balance of power in these contested waters. Vietnam's goal is clear: create undeniable facts on the water, making its claims physically visible and difficult to ignore. By fortifying these outposts and maintaining a constant military presence, Vietnam ensures it can't be easily pushed out or sidelined by larger powers. These fortified outposts allow for a persistent military presence, enabling Vietnam to monitor activity and respond quickly to any threats, even on remote islands far from the Vietnamese mainland, where resupply and reinforcement are challenging. Publicly, Vietnam avoids directly criticizing China, choosing its words carefully to avoid escalation, balancing vital economic ties with military preparedness, a careful strategy of hedging that keeps options open. By deepening ties with the US and other regional partners, Vietnam quietly builds a network of support, preparing for possible conflict without directly provoking Beijing or risking open confrontation. Yet, these islands remain vulnerable in the event of war. Their defenses are limited and could be overwhelmed. But in peacetime, their real value lies in projecting power, solidifying territorial claims, and shaping the narrative of control. Vietnam's gamble is a long-term investment, betting that a steady, persistent presence will pay off over decades. Every day, patrols and new infrastructure reinforce Vietnam's position in the ongoing contest for control. The quiet buildup is gradually reshaping the balance in the South China Sea, one outpost at a time. A new partnership is emerging between the Philippines and Vietnam, two key challengers to China's claims. Shared threats have overcome old disputes, leading to joint Coast Guard drills and high-level naval cooperation. Recent meetings have produced plans for more joint activities and information sharing, building trust and interoperability. Vietnam now openly supports the Philippines' legal stance, signaling a shift in its public diplomacy. This unity undermines China's efforts to isolate Manila and signals that its strategy may be backfiring. For both countries, the partnership adds weight to their positions and presents a more formidable challenge to Beijing. By coordinating, they can better monitor Chinese activities and encourage other ASEAN members to join their cause. The Philippines-Vietnam alliance could reshape the regional balance. As the Philippines prepares to chair ASEAN in 2026, it aims to push for a binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. Years of stalled negotiations have left ASEAN divided, with China exploiting these rifts to block strong action. The Philippines and Vietnam hope their partnership can rally other claimants and shift the bloc toward a unified stance. Success depends on persuading ASEAN that South China Sea stability is vital for all, not just the claimants. The goal: a code that upholds international law and is enforceable, not just aspirational. If Manila can unite ASEAN, it will prove the bloc's relevance and resilience. The chairmanship is a test of Philippine diplomacy and ASEAN's future. The outcome could redefine the region's approach to China. The South China Sea's future hangs in the balance, shaped by nationalism, great power rivalry, and the quest for order. U.S. support for the Philippines deters China, but also fuels Beijing's narrative of foreign interference. Vietnam's quiet buildup and the new Manila-Hanoi partnership add complexity, but unity remains fragile. Long-term stability requires more than ad hoc alliances. It needs a durable, rules-based framework. The upcoming Philippine-ASEAN chairmanship is a chance to revive code of conduct talks and set clear rules for the sea. Without such a framework, the risk of conflict remains dangerously high. The choices made now will decide if the South China Sea becomes a bridge for cooperation or a battleground for supremacy. The world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. Stay informed with. Subscribe now for stories that reveal the truth behind global events.